Now, we were just listening to the radio, and there was BBC Radio 2. Oh, we're listening to the BBC, are you? Yeah, it's free of charge. It comes through the air for free. You just, if you have a radio, switch it on, scan through the killer bicycles, looking for the Emperor Wogan, who's not on there anymore. Oh, look what we've got here, traffic warden.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll see if we get any. Anyway, basically we heard a trailer for the new Doctor Who with the Daleks' voices and stuff.
Ah, yes.
And apparently the Doctors, we've gone over this before, you know that the name can cause you harm, right? And this is coming out in Doctor Who. It'd be funny if he asked me for my ID, because I'll ask him for his. The chap was on... Right, it's not going to bother us. How you doing, Governor? All right, nice to see you. Traffic warden. Nice to be friends with them, actually. They're only human beings, or are they? That's another subject we want to talk about, because I'm not a human being.
Doctor Who. Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Who are you? Correct. Right, anyway, the trailer for Doctor Who, it talks about this planet where the TARDIS, which is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, is locked. Well, it's in a graveyard on a planet called Laws of Trends. Sorry, Trends are law.
Ah.
Now listen to those words, right?
Trends
are law. So if you think about that, you know, for thousands of years, other so-called human beings, people, right, men, women and children, have been slaughtered and sent to war. And basically they've had to beg and die for human rights.
They've not been slaughtered and sent to war. They've been sent to war because they believed that they were fighting for their country. Now, if they had...
For their nation?
Yeah, if they hadn't been told, no, you're not fighting for your country, you're going and fighting for Great Britain, PLC. You're going and fighting for a corporation. I think they may have had a different opinion about fighting for those capitalists.
You know, the Woolwich really has been pulled over our eyes on this particular subject. But what I can't get, mate, is for thousands of years, people have had to beg and beg and beg to actually get rights for humans, or human rights. They've even, all of a sudden, these become like trends are laws. Ring any bells? Trends are law? Right, so basically, if you've only just landed on this planet, and you think about it, thousands of years, people have had to beg for their own rights. What about humans left? What about humans lefts or ups or downs or ins or outs? You know, so basically...
they've been keeping you one-sided.
They're keeping you one side, to the right, while they've been to the left. And in the middle, they just grab everything. But everything's become a law. So we're living on a planet called laws are trends, not trends are laws.
They try and make them out to be laws, when in actual fact they're just statutes and acts.
It really is quite messed up. So basically, if you don't comply, then the
we'll
current
send
trend
the mafia round
is the law. So if you don't abide to the current trend, which is law, and this is what's going on in Doctor Who. So laws are all of a sudden planetary trends, and they use enforcement if you don't obey. Now, isn't that slavery?
Yes, and because if it was voluntary, it wouldn't be enforcement, would it? Why would they need to force you to do something?
Do you know when you go to sign on, you go to the Department for Work and Pensions, I don't know what's it called in America, we know everybody watches our videos worldwide, excuse our English accents, and they say that if you don't go and look for a job, or the government says that if you don't go and get a job, then you're going to be on the street and you'll starve and you'll become homeless, and that's not very good, is it? So if you don't go to work, you can't get what you're entitled to. They call them benefits, but they're actually entitlements where even our forefathers have paid into this. You know, when you're born, if you don't want to work, you are forced to work.
The whole
you are forced to go to school
game
and forced to
is
work.
rigged. Because even if you go to work,
It's a game.
they limit the amount of money you can earn by taxing you by so many different methods. It's unbelievable.
And then there's no law. Of course, you're on planet trends law, laws of trends, but there's no law which actually says that you have to pay any tax whatsoever. There's no law.
Including council tax.
Yeah.
Bedroom tax.
No, there's no laws which say you've got to pay any tax at all.
Income tax.
But if you don't do it, then you're
VAT.
forced into custody. A custard factory. They call that the police station in this country. And then you go to court, and that's a place where games are played. And we know that if you give the name, because it's a name game.
Yes.
You're an energy personality. essence existing in these physical bodies. We're going to do something special about this later.
Why do you think they named the show we've been talking about Doctor Who?
Yes, correct. Who are you? And that's correct. Who are you? Because of course the name can cause you ill will, harm or loss.
But only when you go, that's me!
Look at me, I'm Sandra Dee.
A lot of it is ego-driven though. Yes, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm Bill Smith.
I kind of like the outer ego, but I say to my outer ego, you know, thank you for protecting me, you know, for making sure I'm safe and everything, but don't push it. You know, don't push it too far. The inner ego is happy all the time. And that's the way I want it to be. Do you realise what you are?
Of course. Do you?
Sure. What are you? What are you? What are you?
Me? A computer.
Same as me, with my own personality.
This is why they want to chip us all.
That's why human beings, well, the word human being, I mean being is being, but what is a human? Hue is light and coloration and saturation, like on a computer.
Or a Woolwich hand picture.
Doctored. You see how it all ties in with this Doctor Who and who are you? And how laws are trends. And basically they're there not to protect you or to give you any right whatsoever, because you haven't really got any rights. Well, let's say you haven't got any lefts, but you think you've got rights. But you haven't got anything at all, because you are being forced. And if you don't go to work, then you're forced into labour, then you'll be forced into court, and then forced into a prison. They used to call them jails, and jails for where people have done something wrong, either committed ill will, harm or loss, right? But if you've done something, have you noticed all the jails now, they're all called prisons. And prisons, if you look up the word prison, it's where slaves are kept.
And of course they're building 70 more because they've got a little bit of a work programme going on. They need a few more staff for us.
Private prisons, that's all about the Benjamins. The Benjamin Franklins, the $100 bills. Or the Queen Elizabeth II's. Pictures of the Queen on, you know, on pieces of paper, promissory notes.
But at least, if everyone wakes up in time, we'll get to see the likes of Cameron going to visit them and having a nice long stay.
We're probably going to get a few people going, you guys are crazy, you lunatics, because you don't think you're human beings and you think you're computers. Have you heard what David Icke says about this? He doesn't quite give you the full picture, but he says that all of this is being projected by someone. And even Schofield on the TV. Right, my mate's house said, who do you think's doing it? He says, I don't know, that's what I want to find out.
He does know.
But is that to make a new book, to make a new show, a new presentation? But basically, yes, it has been projected en masse in the past, present and future, but it's been done so quickly. All of this is flashing on and off. You're actually in a virtual reality, excuse me, computer game, right?
Did you know a light bulb flashes on and off?
Yeah, 50 to 50, 60 cycles a second. And you're generating this. There's only good that exists, and you're the creator, all of you. And you think you're a human being? You're actually a super quantum computer that can never be made. But it's all down to thought form. Food for thought, eh? Other selves, other computers. You're a computer. Can you believe that?
But do you know how we have a thing called the internet?
How do we have it?
Well, we have it set around the world and it joins all the computers together. So in actual fact, are not all the computers around the world part of the same?
Yes, we're all one. And this is, well, the so-called law of one, but there aren't really any laws of the universe. But there's a knowing, and it's when you rediscover nothing, that nothing is knowledge.
Apart from the law of attraction.
There's the law of repulsion as well. You know how a magnet can attract one side, but if you turn it around, there's the opposite. You need the positive and the negative in an electromagnetic, chemical, biological vessel game.
But surely, if the law of attraction worked, everybody would win the lottery. Unless, of course, they were thinking inside, maybe if I won the lottery, I could change me so much, and I actually don't want to change. I quite like the way I am. The money'd be okay.
Oh yeah, the money'd be lovely.
But
I'd buy a farm. I would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And grow plants.
Grow everything, all the fresh vegetables, and I'll give them away for free. I'd even get Ricky Simpson on there to come and show us how to make the cures for cancer.
Yeah.
Well, no, we can't use the word cures, but yeah, I'd invite a few people on the farm, but I'd have it somewhere where the government doesn't interfere.
Yes, the mind controllers leave you alone.
So yeah, I know it's a little bit shocking, people, but isn't somebody tell you that you're in a human race? You're part of a race where you start at the beginning.
When you're born.
When you're born, and then there's a finish line, and that's when you're dead.
A little bit in the middle.
And then you're going to go to a concentration camp or a prison.
No, that's it. Once you're beginning,
and that's
born,
it.
End, dead, game over, end of the race.
But what about before you were born and after? That doesn't make any sense, does it?
We don't want you to know about that, because if you realised that there was more to it, you might not be so compliant.
Yeah, you might not be so much of a slave. I mean, forced labour, for frack's sake. I keep saying frack because I don't want to say the other word, otherwise YouTube do a limitation of over 18. So sorry for swearing yesterday. But I'd rather, you know, the F-U-C-K, the word, I won't say it. I rather kind of like that word because it's not as bad as another four-letter word.
I know I like doing part of what that's about. That word's about.
Well, yeah, to make love. It's a good thing, isn't it?
So what's this other word then?
And I know a four-letter. Anybody know a four-letter word which is really evil?
Yes.
And it's not evil. Kill. K-I-L-L. That's probably the worst word you could ever use, and that's forced upon us as well as the other control mechanisms in order to get you to comply. 20 seconds to comply. I feel like a robot. You're not a robot, you're a computer. And you are the co-creator of all that is, all that ever was, and all that ever can be. There is no beginning or end. This is just a small experience.
The only limitation is yourself.
The only limitation is your own imagination. And for the human mind, well, so-called human mind, the mind's not in here, in the bony skull. That's just a messy mash of mush called the brain. The mind uses that, but the mind actually takes up no space or time. And you know, you were going on about the dementia. Yeah, all the politicians are demented at the G8 summit. And Cameron says, oh, we'll throw 132 million in, and I want to cure dementia. You can't cure
Coconut
dementia.
oil.
Coconut oil's a good thing, but good things, thinking good things all the way through your life, and realising that you don't die when you're at the end. And
more importantly, what you put out, you get back.
Yeah. I did some writings about this a few years ago, and you are what you consume, and that's also what you're told, and you read, or that you're spelled upon.
Well, have you ever been and had a meal and it's been absolutely gorgeous, and you've been and had the exact same meal and it just doesn't taste right?
Sometimes it's down to the attitude of the person that's cooked the food, or the attitude of the way that the animals have been treated if you eat meat. And there was one more thing that I wanted to mention about this all that is, all that ever was, all that ever can be. And basically it's that there is no limitation. I was saying about for the mind to actually have any conceptualization of infinity. How small is small, how big is big, the microcosm or the macrocosm. There's no end, it's infinite. So that is just mind-blowing. But as I say, don't worry about the brain. This is just a biological field unit. I wrote something down about
basically
this.
A laptop.
Yeah, like that if you like, but it's a gestalt. A human being, a so-called human being, is more than the sum of all the parts. So, just bear with me a second. I just want to find something here. Oh, that was on dementia. Yeah, basically, when you become older, or you decide that you want to end your life on this Trenzalore planet, Laws are Trends planet, basically you transfer some of your memory banks to another non-physical place. They're not in here, they're inside somewhere. And it makes you look like you're losing your mind, but you're not actually losing your mind. You've transferred your memory banks to a non-physical place in order for reincarnation somewhere else. Jeremy Hunt yesterday, he says, we're going to end dementia. And he says, and we want pharmaceutical companies.
Why?
Says, we are shooting for the stars. Well, they don't understand. They're probably shooting themselves in the foot. Anyway, I did write a few notes about this. And basically, what you think is in front of you, or when you look in the mirror, is a field unit. It becomes a person when it's been given a name, and you know about playing the name game, don't you? Right? But so you are a person is an actor or a character in a game. Look it up in the dictionary.
Play.
Right? And basically, anybody that follows what they've been told or spelled on is a computer, a quantum computer, which is generating all this en masse. in the past, present and future, and they've been programmed. We got a phone call the other day from the police, didn't we?
We did.
And what did they say? They've been watching our video channel.
Yeah, they know all about it. Oh, and he did say, it was a week ago actually, and he did say, Chief Inspector NM, and
Enemy.
really
Enemy.
strange,
I think he's joking with that.
Yeah. He did say,
Enemy.
I asked him for the names and numbers of all the constables that attended the eviction in Wales. He said he'd get back to me. Well, we're still waiting at the moment.
Give him a courtesy call.
I might do.
Yeah, don't put a freedom of information request. Give him a courtesy call and ask, are you a servant? By the way, hi the police, South Wales Police, World Police, all the police around the world. Don't watch our videos. Don't.
Unless you want to wake up yourselves.
Yeah, unless you really want to wake up. Anyway, we're going to end this, but yeah, basically, thank you, police, for all the wonderful... We don't blame you. Even the traffic wardens have been programmed. If you understand that you're a field unit with your roots in other dimensions and systems, which you're not even aware of, most people don't even know. They can't even imagine how incredibly wonderful and complex and amazing you are, and you don't die. And the only way, by the way, to get into this game, on this laws of trends planet, is to be born. It's the only way into physicality. It actually feels real. Look, it feels real, but it's not. It's called physical. It's an illusion. But if it didn't feel real, you would fall through time and space. So, do you realise that you've been programmed? If somebody tells you, let me tell you this, believe that, do you realise that they are actually programming you, and the language is called LAN, Local Area Network, and that is neurolinguistics. Right?
And of course, if they're telling you anything, telling is spelling. They're casting spells on you.
And I believe they may have lied to you and others. Maybe, maybe not. Must not. May
not.
Any other words?
I think we'll leave you with that.
If anybody wants to ask any questions about what's really going on,
don't ask the police.